Good evening.
And how are you all this evening?
Hmm, good. Um, Working on some things, but a little clearer.
Yes, clarity is very, very important. Extremely, extremely important. And how was your week?
Over the week. Interesting, you know. A lot to unpack. A lot of situations requiring acceptance. A lot of self questioning. But at the end of it, you say, well, I'm still standing. Um, at least I'm still standing. So once I'm still standing is a good indicator that I could I could survive certain things. So that was the week.
And that is also, I guess, where awareness would come in, which is tonight's topic.
And I saw it, I said, right. Right on time.
Yes, 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 yes. And for those who just came in, how was your week? Lisa, are you there?
My phone is giving some problem trying to let me speak. Um, my week was good. I can't say um anything bad. Just the normal of trying to get used to thinking differently, responding differently, acting differently. Coming to terms with the lessons. Because sometimes you even though you hear things, it's at certain times it is just like register. So I
Mhm.
feel like now you could connect dots, so it's just kind of being mindful, being present, and trying to continuously connect the dots.
And that, in a nutshell, is what tonight's topic is about, which is really awareness before change. Because before any changes can be made, you really have to be aware of what is happening. Because sometimes you're still functioning as a hamster on a wheel and you're not really fully aware of what is happening or what is required in order to move yourself forward. So that is why this topic is really, really, really important. Hi, Paula. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
And how was your week?
Good, very good. Nice sunny weather.
Yes, a little bit on the hot side. It really, really was a little bit on the hot side. And even for us who are locked down tonight, what do you think is the difference in your awareness now in comparison to 2 years ago?
Well, I think I thought I was applying the the wisdom a little bit more than I realized that I was not. But the change is that there is more knowledge, there's more access to, there was greater access to more wisdom. And you want to you want to believe that you're actually utilizing the wisdom as it is meant to be utilized. But sometimes you have to take a little step back, or you're forced to take a little step back and to realize that your great God is not what you think your great God is. You're telling yourself you're up with some, at least a B, and then to realize, that B might have a piece of straw across it. It's not really a B. You kind of still need to do some work. But I have a sign on my mirror that says, "I will persist until I succeed." It came from a book, The Greatest Salesman. So I know that little bit, even if I'm slower than molasses, it will get to be where it needs to be. So, yes, there is change from 2 years ago, but there's work to be done. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, good night again. For
Hello.
me, something has been, I have to say, happening, or maybe I have been practicing something. And even I had an experience today. I was looking for these headsets. And I don't have the Bluetooth ones where you're just pressing. I still maybe old school with the stringy ones, you know. And I know I had one somewhere, and I said, "Oh, God, I'm looking all over. Can't find this thing." I went and relaxed. And then, I got up and as I'm talking to myself and said, "Paula, you will find it, just relax." And I don't know between sleep and wake or something. I just got up about 4 o'clock this afternoon. And I went straight and put my hand on it. Now, before that last week, well, within the last couple of weeks too, I have been getting to a lot of things in that aspect of it. Just to share a bit about, my personal story. You all would have known my husband passed.
Mm-hmm.
And early January, mid-January, I got a mail from one of the banks, updating and whatever. So I decided I would take it into the bank. I said, "Well, I got this letter saying he has this, that." So they told me to come back to talk to another officer, realizing he had some policies, two I didn't even wasn't aware of. And they said, "Yeah, you have to get the policies, So, well, they had to give me some time. I had to go and look for them." So she said, "If not, I'll have to pay $250 each for them to create a new policy and then to disperse whatever." So I come home and I say, "No, but we're starting to look." I say, "Well, you have about three briefcases are going to start to open and look." And one day, I think it was the weekend, I was just cleaning up the room and packing away some books. And I said, putting it on a shelf. And I said, "Oh, is this the red things here?" And the girl had told me what to look for. She said it's gonna be in a red package or envelope or billfold or whatever. And I said, "What is this here, boy?" And I just, as I put the books up, I'm seeing these two red things. When I pull it out, that is exactly what they wanted. So I called her, made an appointment, and I went. And I just laughed. And just like that. Now I have to go and do administration for letters of administration, and I'm looking for the deed for the house. I can't find the deed. And it's like, oh Lord. The last time I remember when I was doing the property tax, I had it. You had to take your pictures and I sent you the documents. And when you don't put back things where you're supposed to put it back.
Mm-hmm.
So last week I'm cleaning out the room again and I'm like, I just take this wrong envelope. When I open it, oh God, I start to laugh. This is exactly, I was looking for it, exactly what I want. I just relax and say, look, like I talk to myself, "Paula, don't worry, you will get it." And I'm asking that higher power to help me locate it. Those are three things within the last, let's say, month. You're anxious about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're not looking for it, like your hand just goes, the first thing I pick up, straight to it. Because my son was even helping me. He said, "But Mom, you had it." I said, "But yeah, you help me take the pictures and you do this, you do that. You should have it and thing." And he telling me, "No, he don't have it and thing." And I say, "Where would I put this thing, boy? When you didn't put it back where it was supposed to be." And then I tell myself, what are you worried about? Whatever. When I get it, I'll sort it out because I need that.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? I went straight to it. So I'm learning now. Don't worry. Ask the universe. Or put it to the universe, then, or your higher power, or your inner self, whatever it is. You know, everybody will have a different point of reference. And I have been successful in those three things. Another thing, anyway, I'm traveling out tomorrow, so I'm like, I need a hand luggage, you know. I say, no, gosh. That's yesterday. I said, no, I think I need to go and buy one, you know. And I say, at this late stage, boy, anyhow, I cleaning again, clean out the room. I say, look, I when I come back from my vacation, I don't want no clothes in the thing. So I'm taking out the clothes. In fact, I've taken out all the clothes except two t-shirts from the cupboard and so on, you know. And so I'm going through some stuff. There's a shoebox I opened. I said that I knew he bought a new pair of sneakers and stuff. In the shoebox, he also had an Adidas bag. Apparently, you know, some of these places you go and you get these. Well, I don't know what it is. New brand Adidas. It's like a gym bag.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever think here. I can't remember seeing it. It's like that's my hand luggage bag. Yeah, and I'm just it is amazing. Within this last month, 2 months, I have been asking you, just tell me where to get this, tell me where to go do that, whatever. And it has worked out. So I hope that helps somebody tonight.
Yes.
Just relax and it will come when you're not expecting it. Because I know I traveling tomorrow and I need in fact, and I don't have to leave. And I need a hand luggage and I don't have, you know? And I just went straight. And it was in the shoebox, which I wouldn't expect in the shoebox. So
Yes.
that's my story.
Yes. And you see, a lot of times we talk about even knowing what you want. And again, that's as well is part of the awareness aspect because as soon as you know what you want and it does work, because I could also give you all a story where I have a mouse on my laptop now. I bought this mouse with my laptop, and the mouse, it is unusually expensive for a mouse, but the features of the mouse and how it was built, you only have to charge it like twice for the year as a rechargeable mouse. So you don't have to recharge it all the time, all the time. And I did try. I bought a cheaper one. And after 2 weeks after charge it, I said, no, 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 no. I can't deal with this. I cannot deal with this because I am accustomed with this other mouse where I tell you it's like twice for the year. And I am not exaggerating. I don't know what Dell did, but I'm very grateful. So I say I want back one of those mouse, looking for it, can't find it. It's sold out, and you only get in the black one, and the one I have is a silver one. And I really, really want that particular mouse. And again, just like Paula, know what you want. It is important that you know what you want. Went on Amazon. Well, Dell has it the most expensive, which is $66 US. So I say, okay. I went on Amazon. I said, let me see if Amazon get it back. So lo and behold, Amazon had it for 58. And a day I went on Amazon and I said, I wonder if this will ever drop to like half price, like $30. So I leave it alone and I keep watching it and the price started to drop. So it went down from 58 to 54, 45. When it was at 45, I looked at it to buy it and I said, let me leave it again. The next week it went down to 40. Then it went down again to 35. And one day I got up and checked it and it was $31.80. And I looked at it, I said, Dana, buy this now. And I say, here, what? Let me buy it. Because with Amazon, when you buy something, it takes them a few days. Like the day before they ship it out is when they would charge your credit card. So I said, let me buy it. So it still have like 4 days before they charge my credit card before it comes. And if the price goes down again, I'll just cancel the order and reorder it. So I bought it. And by the time I was driving home, I was telling my sister, I bought the mouse. And when she checked, it went back up to $58. So you really have to be clear, and I know Befitment always talking about setting intentions and knowing what you want, but it really, really works, and you really have to try it, and in trying it, you would recognize, And just as Paula is explaining, what are you really fretting and fussing about? Because when you know what you want, because I told you this mouse was nowhere to be found, I could not find it. Well, Dell had it still for 66, I not paying that price. And so now you start to look, eBay had it really expensive as well. And knowing what you want and just declaring what you want, you would recognize that whatever it is, it literally makes its way to you. And of course, we would always say, get up in the morning and ask self what is required for you today. And you're recognizing and asking, you're getting your answers. So when you get up and you don't ask or you don't put whatever it is you want forward, you would recognize that you're in the same space for a really, really long time. And sometimes you might think it crazy. You're talking to yourself, nobody not listening. But when you speak, remember everything is listening to you. And the things that you want you too. But if you're not clear on what it is, and if you don't say, you don't make up your mind, or sometimes you're overthinking it, because I overthink a little bit when it was time to purchase it, and then I said no, buy it, so that if the price drops again tomorrow, you'll just cancel the order and reorder it. And it is really something. I know, listening to it, it seems like, nah, that will never happen for me. That will never, those kind of things will really happen to me. But have you ever take the time to really practice it? You really, really have to practice it. And in doing so, that is where the awareness comes in, which is tonight's topic, awareness before change. And that is why the question was asked in terms of where is your awareness now in comparison to where it was like 2 years ago. And even as Paula approaching things now, you're recognizing, why am I stressing? Why am I frustrating myself? Why am I overthinking? Because at the end of the day, it still works out. You're still going to get what you want. You still found the deed. You still get a hand luggage. You still got the mouse. So then why are we stressing ourselves out? And another thing that comes with stress is that we put our body through these processes. Whenever you are stressed and you're recognizing more and more that it's not required. All that is really required is you knowing what you want and holding to the clear intention. But if within it you're still doubting and you're still worrying, remember you're sending out that energy. And as we learned in some sessions before, once you send out that energy, what would you receive? That same energy back to you. And you would recognize that, yes, awareness must come before action, because with it, you get clarity. And again, once we get up in the morning and you go on the whatever is the regular pattern for you, you would recognize that that is keeping you stuck. Because if Paula continued with whatever her regular pattern is, no, I'm not going to find it. If she started to doubt herself, I don't think I could find this, and she starts to get frustrated, and the thoughts can't come once you're in a frustrated space. It's like you're blocking them out. The thoughts cannot come. So you would not be able to find what you want. And in doing so, again, what will end up happening? You're just frustrating yourself more and more and more. And you would recognize that awareness really creates better decisions and outcomes. And for those who didn't answer, how is your awareness now in comparison to 2 years ago? How do you think it is now?
I think my sense of awareness has heightened, and I think it's similar to what Paula was explaining. But like when things happen, you're still at this phase where you're kind of like, oh, you're surprised that it happened.
Yeah.
Because you we don't really, like they say, understand who we are, and we have the ability to do the thing. So you're still like, wow, this really happened to me. But I think like when you continuously do it and you be mindful, it would just like everything else, it will come like second nature, right? So it's just to continue to be mindful and continue to apply the process to be able to see the change. Because I know, like, for me, I know y'all hear me talking about my job and my job and my job. And today they're like, oh, Lisa, well, we're going to come and shadow you. And I'm like, shadow me now? What is it? What is it? What is it? And I had to like stop myself and say to myself, well, you have to know what you want and what the outcome that you want to see from this. And then I had a conversation. Imagine, she's like, I hope you're not taking it like we putting you down. I was like, yeah, that's exactly how it. And it's like I had surrendered it. Like every morning and stuff, I would just like once, the thoughts start coming, I would, remind myself, you need to know what outcome you want from this. And it was positive. It was positive, and I am not there yet, but it's a work in progress. Because I'm really, really kind of working on projecting or thinking about or envisioning the outcome I want, and not let my mind just run rampant and decide, okay, this is the outcome that you're going to get out of habit.
Yes. Anyone else? Anastasia, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good night.
Hello. And how is your awareness now in comparison to 2 years ago?
Real heightened. I live every day in awareness, and it is as if I am now beginning to live. To me, before, I don't know what I was doing. I really don't know what I was doing before. I was just getting by.
Yeah.
But now it's so good to be living in conscious awareness, of yourself, especially. For me, it's about myself. And yeah, to me, I now start to live. I now start living. I am now in touch with myself and knowing what I want for me, and not living according to the dictates of society and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And yeah, it is really great. It's alive, you know.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Because it really is different. Because last week someone called me with a situation. And usually, well, for me, well, before, when someone called you with a situation, you get involved and you get in and you fix it and you tell them what to do, and it's like you buy over the whole fight. And when they said what the situation was, well, I was halfway asleep. So I said, okay. And then after the phone call, you sat down there. And when you're just about to send yourself down the rabbit hole of stressing yourself out and worrying, and what is the outcome going to be, and trying to control the outcome and wanting to jump in to control the outcome. And I was in there, and then I was like, Adana, no, no, no. This is not how you are feeling. This is what you are feeling. What are you feeling? You are feeling stressed about somebody else's situation that you have no dog in that fight. None. You have no dog in that fight. That situation is here for that person to learn a lesson. They would come out of this situation better, stronger because of it, more resilient because of it. And I went back to sleep. I did. I went back to sleep because the situation is there. Yes, you are there and you could offer the person guidance, but it is their lesson to learn. A lot of times we want to jump in to prevent the person from learning the lesson, and you don't want them to feel pain. And sometimes the pain you would have felt from the experience, they don't. They might understand it in a quicker time than you. They might not even think twice. But the thing is, sometimes we don't allow people to learn because we want to jump in to control whatever the outcome is, to make it what you think it should be. And that is not really what it should be. Because if you are there, the person experiencing something, and you offer them guidance, listen, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they could either take it or they could not take it. But at the end of the day, the outcome is theirs. And they will learn from the outcome. It is not up to you to say, well, the outcome from this shouldn't be too bad, so let me try to help them. I don't want them to get cut too deep. You don't know why life's sending the lesson to them. You have no clue why. And a lot of times we want to jump in to fix and jump in to take over and jump in to stand the person out of the mud and leave yourself in the mud because you're trying to save them. But just as we learned during the week, nothing is more important than you. And again, that only came with awareness. And you really, really have to take the time and ask yourself what you are feeling. And it is really not about how, because the how you are feeling would have sent me down the rabbit hole in wanting to try to get in and fix and no, drink the medicine for somebody else's fever. No. Sometimes you really have to let things be. You really have to let it go, just as trees are changing leaves. Can you stop the leaves from turning brown on a tree? You cannot stop the process because life is life and the process will continue. Can you stop the rain from falling? Can you stop the tide from coming in and going out? But when we see nature going through processes, we tend to leave it be. But when you're seeing people going through processes, you tend to want to fix it or to curtail it or to change it into what you think it should be and what you think the outcome should be. But really and truly, you have to let all processes be and not just the processes that involve nature. Because people also have to go through processes in order to come through the processes more resilient, stronger, because within that process, there are very important things that they also have to learn. Just as you and we had to learn things, they also have things to learn. And yes, you are there for support and you are there to guide. But I have now made more aware. I am now more aware that jumping in to try to fix somebody's process is not the best process. Because it weighs on you as an individual, and then it prevents them from learning the lesson that they were meant to learn in the long run. And then you know what happens after? 2 months down the road, they coming back with the same issue because they did not get the chance to learn the lesson 100% because you jumped in to save them from whatever the result was supposed to be. So that is something that I had to learn as it relates to awareness in terms of allowing people to learn whatever their lesson may be. And again, in doing so, you would recognize that one, you don't have to send yourself down the rabbit hole. Two, the pressure that you would usually put on yourself because you're trying to control the outcome is not there anymore. And it is not your responsibility to pressure yourself to try to control somebody else's outcome. It really is not your responsibility. And you see, when, just as Anastasia said, she is living more consciously aware. And a lot of times We are involved in a lot of unconscious patterns, and you don't understand the effects the unconscious patterns having on you until you are aware of something else, because those unconscious patterns, they have you in a bind. You don't even question it. You just jump into whatever it is, and then a lot of times in doing so, you're really drowning yourself, trying to save everybody else. You're trying to send everybody else up to ensure everybody else head above water, but where is your head? You're fighting to keep your own head above water, and you're trying to ensure that everybody else is good. And you really have to start to stop and ask yourself the question, what am I feeling? Instead of how you are feeling towards whatever the situation is. Because the how, it keeps you in a bind, it keeps you in an unconscious pattern. Because when you really start to ask yourself what, you recognize that, listen, this is not my fight. This is not my lesson. Don't make the lesson yours if it's not yours. Leave it alone. And as it relates to like observing and techniques, what do you think are some techniques that you could continue to do or even adopt as it relates to observing without judgment? Well, in my instance, I was able to recognize, this person have something to learn, let it be. And I let it go. Because it's not about judging the other person, they should know this by now. No, not necessarily, because everybody learns things differently. And probably the reason why they wasn't learning the lesson because you still jumping in to fix it for them. That is one instance. So, what do you think are some techniques that you could use to observe without judgment?
I am waiting for an answer too.
One of the things for me, because I had to, even today I was mentioning this, is no matter who people are and what they do, see the God in them. Because as we learn, everybody are where they are and they're doing the best they could do
Yeah.
and they're doing what they think is the best. So, I mean, like, when you come on the not the Monday night, like the live from Tuesday to Thursday, I think one of the things that stand out the most for me is it's only you. It's nobody else. And when I think about that and you think about, everything else and everybody else is almost like an illusion. And I don't know if anybody like watched The Matrix or any of those like sci-fi movies or, you have all these kids using the virtual games and you put um the mask on your face and like you're in your own realm and everybody just doing what they have to do. And it's so fascinating. Like we are so caught up in everybody else and what everybody else does. And we really don't truly understand that you are the most important thing. You're the only thing that is important. And everything else is just like fluff, so to speak. I mean, we're all interconnected and we all help each other and, we all have to live like that. But when you really sit back, I know for me, it's always like, wow, what they do have, it's like you're on your own private island. What they do have nothing to do with what you do on your island. If you want to fish, you want to steam, you want to do whatever. The only thing that is important is what on your island and what you do with what's on your island. So for me, it's really learning to, I mean, people to us, we say you do your things, or you're upset with them based on what they do, and because that's like me, like, well, they shouldn't do it this way, or you should have done it this way, or why can't you do it this way? And it's still something I'm working on, but it's something that I'm more aware of. Like, I always kind of getting almost like defensive. Well, it should have been done this way, and if you had done it this way, then this situation, this wouldn't have been the result because. But they're on their island, you're on your island. So it's to fix yourself and fix what's on your island and focus what's on your island. And because you can't change anybody, they'll do what they want to do. But I think when you start to see the God in people and understand that even if you don't agree with what they do, we are all one and the same, and everybody just doing the best that they could do. So I think that's a big thing that I'm trying to like work on.
Yeah. And in doing so, you would recognize that you start to face whatever the challenges are head on instead of attempting to run from them. Because a lot of times that is what we do. As soon as something come, oh gosh, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this person. I don't want to deal with this situation. I don't want to deal with this thing, whatever it is. Especially when it comes and it falls in your lap unexpectedly. But in doing so, you're really running away from what life is. Because remember, life would have challenges, whether you like them, you don't like them, you appreciate them, you don't appreciate them. And the thing is, what usually happens is that whatever you're asking for is usually on the other side of the challenges. But you're always running away from them when they come. So sometimes you might be asking for a car, you might be asking for a house. And the challenge that come might involve a person, but within there is a lesson that you would need in order to maintain the house or the car when you get it. But because you keep running away from it and doing so, what you recognize is that you're really running away from what you're asking for. Because everything connected. You're really running away from what you're asking for. Because again, when you ask for something, you are expecting it to come wrapped in pink gift paper with bows and sprinkles and unicorns. And it might come in a brown paper bag. Think about it. The same challenge you're running from, the thing that you're asking for is on the other side of that challenge. And the more that you say you're not feeling to deal with this, the universe send it back and it coming back in 8 months. Send it back and it coming back in a year. Send it back and it coming back in 5 years. Or it don't come back at all. Because you say you want it trying to come to you, but you keep rerouting it and saying, no, this is the wrong address. This challenge not packaged properly. This is not for me. Yes, Katrin, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
I also see me watching you side eye and going, What if I had two questions to ask, but this one came up first. If you experience any challenge, but you have assessed the challenge as a distraction, which keeps returning in various forms, but you have assessed it as a
Now,
distraction.
once you assess it as a distraction, are you able to really look at it completely, or you just get away from me?
When you look at it, you look at it, you look at it
You're looking at
sideways.
it with your interpretation. You're not looking at it from a neutral perspective.
Well, you're looking at, okay, I suppose you're looking at it from society's perspective, you're looking at it from a legal perspective, you're looking at it from a few angles.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the religious aspect. you're looking at it from. And so,
Did you try looking at it for what it is?
well, this is where the topic tonight comes in, awareness before change, because what is it?
And so that is the question to ask. That
What
is
is it
exactly the question.
other than a distraction?
No, that is the question to ask. What is this? Why is this repeating itself? Ask that and see what answer comes instead of just trying to class it as a distraction. Ask the question and then ask, what is the next step? How do I deal with this? Or do I leave it alone and let it be? Ask the questions because you have the you have the perfect question. And what is the second question that you said that you had?
Okay. The like in this last week or so, I had to look at some things. It's kind of been evolving over the last few months, but in the last week or so, I had to really look at some things. And when you were speaking about people have to go through what they have to go through, and the fact that you listened and you went back to sleep, I remembered trying to, in my view, provide some assistance
Mm-hmm.
in a situation which looked very inflammatory. And then in the middle of the whole thing to realize that, wait a minute here. This thing was now being turned into a me fault issue. And at that point, I had to say, oh, no, 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 no. You ain't going to make this about me at all. This is, and I stepped away physically. I stepped out of the way physically. And then I thought about this, is there bold facedness? How in God's name you get around to trying to blame me for something that no, this is, but over the course of a few days to examine to see that in a way you kind of contributed to that whole way of thinking. And so you really just guiding people business.
Mm-hmm.
I am really sometimes I do struggle with
Mm-hmm.
offering information. And I think when I look back and I remember some of the conversations from the evenings, it causes me then to say, why do you want to help there? You know, it's like how when we learned that if someone asks you for money, you just take out your money and give them the money
Yeah.
because you are already given from a position that says you think they are less fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
So here you are more fortunate. And it has caused me to question myself as to why do you want to assist?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think this person needs to know this? Why do you think they need to know that? And I remember my son saying to me once, you don't have to tell anybody anything. Not everybody needs to know everything. And but I would say this is my nature. This is if I'm walking down the road and I slip on a, I didn't fall. The next person I see headed in that direction, I would say, careful when you're walking there, it's kind of slippery because they might not hold their balance.
Mm-hmm.
But that is seen as you don't have to be telling people anything. Let them fall if they have to fall. So then how do you balance that kind of
Your
wanting
balance it.
to?
But I remember we were told once, because when the person called me, I did not respond. I listened and I went back to sleep after the conversation was over. And I was about to go down the rabbit hole, and then I stopped myself. This was before I went back to sleep, and I said, no, this is not your fight. Stop trying to make this about you and what you would do and what they would do based on what you would do. And I went and sleep. Remember, we were told once, in order to stop the momentum, go and sleep. And when I got up, thinking about it again, the thought came, that person have a lesson to learn. And I told the person that, I said, I'm not getting involved. You have a lesson that you have to learn from the situation. And you really have to sometimes stop, because within it you recognize that even the same questions that you have, that is based on your pattern, whatever your pattern is. And within that, you really have to stop. If it is go and sleep, if it is you go and do something else. And then when you get yourself back in a neutral space, ask the question. Because that is the same thing that almost happened to me. I was about to go back down the rabbit hole. And even in the instance where somebody might be walking down the road, they might be consciously aware enough to know that looking slippery, don't pass there. So you don't even have to offer that might be slippery, don't pass there. Because again, remember, everybody is not functioning from where we are functioning from. And you really have to start to look at things. I know we were told about this in a very deep extent in terms of looking at things for what they are. No interpretation, no opinion, black and white. You can even ask yourself when you think about the situation, what is this? You don't have to have an opinion about it. You don't have to have an interpretation, whatever your perception is. You ask out loud, what is this? And even in the instance with the person that called me, in the what is this, I got the answer. This is something that this other person has to learn from. That is what this is. Your input is not required. Your opinion is not required. Nothing is required. If the person call and they ask something in particular and you want to offer them something, then let it be. But other than that, nope. And it is perfectly fine now. They figured it out. They learned the lesson. They know what they have to focus on. Yes. Yes, Paul, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yes, I just wanted to add. I remember my mother used to tell me, don't give people advice except if they ask you for it. I found myself a little pickle too, especially when you have people who are married and sometimes they ask advice, or maybe it's another a third party. And when you put your mouth in, they will want to blame you because you give them the advice. So I have learned now I don't give people advice like that. And sometimes you give them advice and they don't take it. They don't really want it, They just want to hear what you would say
And
because
a
they will
lot
go
of
back and
times,
continue to do the same thing that they always continue doing.
mhm,
So for me, as you are saying, everybody will have to, find their own way or find their own path. Some people may be genuine and you ask a genuine question, but after a while, you will kind of discern
mhm,
because if they keep coming back with the same thing all the time, the same issues, you realize that they haven't learned their lesson and they are here to learn just as you are here to learn and go along your path. They are here to experience their life. I
yeah.
just wanted to add that.
And sometimes they don't really want the advice, They want to know if your opinion and their opinion of whatever the situation is match. Because again, a lot of times you're having conversations, but you really want the person to be on your side, whatever your side is. And again, look at it from a neutral perspective. Remove yourself from the situation. If you say, you can even use me, you can say, if Adana came to me telling me this, because when it's somebody who is not someone who is close to you, you would have a totally, totally different understanding of whatever the situation is there. You really do. So look at it from as Anastasia was saying, conscious awareness. And trust me, you would have a totally different understanding. Totally different understanding. And in instances, in terms of offering advice, you know when to. You know when to. Or the thought might come to you, just as the thought came to me, that person have something to learn. The thought would come to you, whatever it is, you just let them know, and you just keep it moving. But jumping in to fight the battle on their behalf, it is not always what is best at all, because in the long run, you really end up affecting yourself, and then you kind of steal the opportunity for that person to learn whatever was required for them to learn. So, and just as we spoke about the tools, the same tools, you're using them in all the different situations in terms of the ask a question. Or if you need to break the momentum, go and sleep. Go and do something else. You might even go outside and garden, because I know you said you like gardening, and in doing so, the solution might come. You don't, whatever your pattern is, once you recognize that you are going back through the pattern, because the pattern is a series of steps there, and we know what these series of steps are. So once you recognize that is happening, break the momentum. Go and garden, go and sleep, go and watch a movie. Or even you say, you know what, tomorrow I will deal with this. You don't always have to deal with everything now. Break the momentum. Ask a question. Ask the question. If you need to ask it 5 times, ask the question 5 times. Allow the thoughts to come, and you really have to be open to allow the thoughts to come, because in allowing the thoughts to come, whatever the pattern is, you have to release the pattern. Because if you keep the pattern, you will have the same steps. So that is how you would know that you're still in the pattern. So release the pattern, allow the thoughts to come, and find everything you need to find, just as Paula found everything that she needed to find. And again, remember, just as in Paula's instance, even Lisa's instance, and as I was talking about the mouse that I really had to get, remember, it is important that you always know what you want. What do you want? And sometimes the thing is not coming because, again, you don't know what you want. So you stay in an unclear state, and then you get unclear things coming at you constantly all the time. So it is really something for you to practice. You really have to practice it. Practice it, practice it, practice it. Before you go down the rabbit hole, stop, pause, take a deep breath. If your emotions are too heightened, step away from it, go and sleep, or even if you could deal with it tomorrow, then deal with it tomorrow. Because a lot of times when you sleep and get up, you realize you have a totally different perspective when you sleep and get up. So really think about it. And before I let you all know what we have for this week at the Balance Center, does anyone have any questions? All right. So let me share my screen. And as is always stated, remember that the Mondays are an intro to the rest of the week. So tonight we looked at awareness before change, and tomorrow we would be looking at breaking the identity loop. And just as we just talked about, disrupting the life that keeps you stuck. So that would also assist with the same things that you were asking about, Catherine. So ensure that you have your questions in case you might need to ask them during the session. Then from 7, we have our fuel and flex full body workout sessions. On Wednesday, from 10, we have counseling and consultations. Then from 6, we would be looking at intentional identity creation, where we would be discussing moving from vague goals to clearly defined identity. And that is also what we were talking about in terms of knowing what you want. You really need to be clear. And then on Thursday, we have counseling and consultations again from 10. And from 6, we would be looking at embodying and sustaining the self, where we would be discussing the self holds under pressure, not just ideal conditions. And again, when the challenges come, you work through the challenges instead of trying to run away from it, which is what the description says. The self holds under pressure, not just ideal conditions. Then from 7 again, we have our fuel and flexible body workout sessions where we sweat. I know this says smile, but we don't smile all the time at all. And thrive through our group fitness sessions. On Friday from 10, we have a private yoga and meditation session. Then from 3, we have Free to Be, where we release, relax, restore, and unwind. Then on Saturday, we have our Dowdy workshop from burnout to performance. So if you are someone who are feeling drained right now and it's affecting your goals and performance, you could join us and learn how to reset, refocus, and get back to your best. It is online from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and the cost is 200 TT or 30 USD dollars. For the Befitment premium members, the cost is 180 or 27 US dollars. So you can register by WhatsApping the word perform to 336-1809. So I hope that tonight's session was enlightening for you. I hope that you can still ensure that you could practice, because that is where the change comes. You really, really need to practice, put it into practice. The simplest things, just practice it. Try something new. We are already in April, there's still all the time about the months of the year, and by the time we blink is the end is December. We have to get new resolutions and all of that. 4 months has almost passed. Imagine that. 4 months of 2026 has almost passed. We are at week, I think it's 17 right now. Imagine that. Out of 52. We're almost at the halfway mark. We are at week 17 out of 52. The things that you want can only materialize if you put in the efforts and you put in the practice. Do not let another year pass where you are still wishing and hoping to experience certain things. Don't let another year pass. We have been saying this for the past 2 or 3 years at Befitment. It is time to choose you. It is time to put self first. It is time to invest in you fully because you are worth the investment. So practice whatever is required. See you all, most of you, tomorrow. I know 2 persons who are not usually on. I think I'm seeing Marissa, sorry, is that you? Okay, I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Welcome back to me.
Yes, Marissa, welcome back. We are very, very happy that you are here. And I know Paula saying that she has a trip. Please be safe, but also I would like to really encourage you all to join the in-week sessions, because those sessions, they are a lot different from what happens on a Monday. And if you would just like to dip your toe in the water, you could just message us and let us know that you would like the 7-day pass, and you would get a 7-day pass to join the sessions to really see what is about before you commit in terms of seeing if it is something that you like. And I know you might say, well, you just be driving home and you just be in traffic, and that is perfect. You're logging on online and you're just listening from wherever you are. If you choose to come in person, you can. But just like this, you could be driving in traffic, you log on and you listen. So think about it. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful week. Have a consciously aware week. And see you all, well, some of you tomorrow, and then see you all again on Monday. Same place, same time. Good night, everyone.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Good evening.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.